The shield of favor. And I'm going to go to the book of Psalms, Psalm number 5, verse 12. Psalm 5:12 reads, "For thou, Lord, will bless the righteous with favor, will thou compass him as with a shield. For thou, Lord, will bless the righteous with favor, will thou compass him as with a shield." For thou, Lord, will bless, he will bless the righteous with favor, will thou compass him as a shield. Now the question is, what is favor? What is favor? Favor is demonstrated delight. Demonstrated delight. When it is obvious of God's goodness in your life that everyone sees it. Demonstrated delight. It is not something that is obscured, but it's something that is seen by everyone. Favor is a tangible evidence that a person has the approval of the Lord. A tangible evidence that you have God's approval upon you. A tangible evidence that your life has been approved and everything that you do has been approved by God. What is favor? Favor is that which helps a man or a woman to achieve divine destiny, to achieve any expectation that they may have with minimum effort. Any man that achieves a thing with minimum effort is a favored man. Any person that achieves something without sweat, it means that that individual is favored. In the book of Psalm 84 verse 11, it says, "For the Lord God is a sun and a shield. The Lord bestows favor. The Lord bestows favor and honor." The Lord bestows favor and honor. And he says, no good thing does he withhold from those who walk uprightly. No good thing does he withhold from those who walk uprightly. Every child of God is entitled to the favor of God. Every child of God is entitled to the favor of God. However, not every child of God will receive the favor of God. Every child of God is entitled to the favor of God. Favor has flavor. into our lives and it mobilizes people everywhere to help us. Any man or woman who is a carrier of favor will be able to mobilize people in times of his need. Because favor adds flavor to a man's life. It is the favor of God that makes life fulfilling. Are you with me?
Amen.
It is the favor of God that makes life appealing. It's the favor of God that makes life rewarding. You can be righteous. You can be upright. But righteousness without favor will provoke hardship and frustration. Did you hear me?
Amen.
Righteousness without favor of God will provoke hardship and frustration. But favor is what makes righteousness appealing and rewarding. What will make a righteous person to be appealing is favor of God upon him. Every righteous person that ever enjoyed success in life was a candidate of favor. Every righteous individual who ever enjoyed success in life, they all swam in the stream of favor. Every one of them. A life without favor is a life that will suffer frustration. A life without favor is a life that will be delayed, and eventually it will end up in failure. This is the reason why it is critical for us to ask for favor from God. So favor is not a luxury, but favor is a necessity, an essential commodity for life. It is not a luxury. Favor is an essential commodity for life. And you need to ask God to favor my life.
Amen.
Are you with me?
Amen.
You need to ask God to favor your life. It is not a luxury. It is an essential item in your journey of life. You see, lack of favor is the reason why expectations of people are cut off. Lack of favor is the reason why expectations of people, a lot of people have expectations. When a new year comes, they have great expectations. Why have the expectations not been met? Lack of favor. Lack of favor is the reason why life journey ends in futility. Lack of favor. Lack of favor is the reason why dreams are not fulfilled. Lack of favor. So favor is an essential ingredient in the journey of life. And you must demand God for favor. When God's favor is operating in your life, when God's favor is compassed as a shield around you, you will experience doors opening for you that only God can open.
Amen.
When God's favor is upon you, you'll be at the right place, always at the right time.
Amen.
When God's favor is upon you, operating on you, you will always meet the right people, people that will help you to reach your destiny. You always meet them. When God's favor is operating in your life, you will have the right connection in life. You will always experience a supernatural provision. When by natural means, there's absolutely nothing. But with God's favor upon you, you will continue to experience this supernatural provision which you don't even know where it's coming from. When God's favor is upon you, when God's favor is working in your life, you will see restoration of health and the wholeness of your body. Because why? God has favored you. What killed other people will not kill you.
Amen.
It's the favor of God.
Amen.
Are you with me? The sickness that took somebody else's life that you may have, the only thing that is the difference between you and that person is the favor of God that brought your healing. So do not live your life without the favor of God. Don't. Do not live life. Do not go on the journey of life without the favor of God. You must desire the favor of God. You must place a demand for his favor. You must place a demand for God's favor. Psalm 90 verse 17 says, Psalm 90 verse 17. It says, let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us. Establish the work of our hand upon us. Yea, establish the work of our hands. Psalm 90 verse 17. Let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us. Let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us. Let the favor of the Lord our God be upon me. Establish the work of my hands. Establish the work of my hand. God is willing to give favor. So your place is to request. Are you here?
Amen.
Is to request for the favor of God. You must request for it. Do not assume you have it. Did you hear me?
Amen.
Do not assume you have favor. Request for the favor of God. No matter how righteous you may be, demand for the favor of God. You need the favor of God. No matter how upright you are, you need the favor of God. Even Jesus, the Son of God, who never committed any sin in his life, the Bible says that he grew in favor. So if Jesus had to grow in favor with God and man, what about you and I? It's speaking about Moses. In the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 26, it says, and Moses was in favor both with God and with man. So Moses was in favor both with God and with man. So now, I'm going to give you some facts about the favor from that scripture, or the book of Psalms, chapter 5, verse 12. Why it is essential for us to demand favor. Why it is necessary for you to ask God to favor your life. Don't go through life without favor. You will be frustrated. You will become a frustrated Christian. And I see lots of them. Don't move in the journey of life without the favor of God. Your life will end up in fertility with nothing at the end. Fact about favor. Number one, favor is a blessing endowment. What God has gifted you is a gifting of God, endowment, gifting of God that guarantees good in life. Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 23. This was Jacob blessing Naphtali. Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 23. And it reads, and of Naphtali he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with favor. O Naphtali, satisfied with favor and full with the blessing of the Lord. Be satisfied with favor and be full with the blessing of the Lord. Be satisfied with favor and with the blessing, and be full with the blessing of the Lord. It is favor that satisfies. Any man or woman who does not have favor of God is a man whose life is not satisfying. They are living a dissatisfied life. Are you with me?
Amen.
It is favor that makes life fulfilling. It's favor. To be favored by God means to be blessed by God. And to be blessed by God means to be favored by God. Favor is the ingredient that disqualifies and qualifies a person. It is the ingredient that neutralizes disqualification of a person and qualifies a person. Favor. In the group of people, you may not be the best skilled, you may not be the most talented, you may not be the most experienced. But what will set you apart from everybody else is the favor of God. It neutralizes disqualification of any man and qualifies a man in a place, in a position, in an area in life they are not qualified to be in. Favor of God. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So you must ask for it. You need it. It's an ingredient to having a fulfilled life. Number two, favor is a divine investment that adds value to life and makes a person's life valuable. Favor, a divine investment that adds value to life and makes a person's life valuable. In order for you to be valuable in life, you need favor. Are you with me?
Amen.
Favorable people are valuable people. Let me repeat that again. For any man to be valuable in life, you need favor.
Amen.
You cannot be valuable in life without the favor of God. people are valuable people. Favorable people are treasured people. Favorable people are not people that can easily be discarded. Everybody would like to be around them. Everybody would like to sought for their counsel. Everybody will want to be their friends. Why? Because they have value.
Amen.
Are you with me?
Amen.
Because they have value. Any man or woman you see in life today that is treasured is because that person is a carrier of favor. And everywhere they go, people will want to be with them. Why? Because they are carrying something that the other people do not have. And the only thing they are carrying is favor. Are you with me?
Amen.
Genesis chapter 30 verse 27. Listen to what Laban said about Jacob. Genesis chapter 30 verse 27. This will tell you how valuable a favored person is. Genesis chapter 30 verse 27. And it says, and Laban said unto him there is Jacob, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me because of you, for my sake. Because of you, the Lord has blessed me. I have learned by experience. I have watched everything. I have seen everything. And the only reason why God has blessed me is because of you. The only reason why I'm enjoying this blessing I'm receiving, not because I'm favored, is because you're favored, and then also I attach myself to you. That's why I'm getting blessed. Anybody that desires value in life, you must ask for favor of God.
Amen.
Because it's the favor of God that spice up a person's life. You see, rejection in any area of a person's life, rejection in any area of a person's life, rejection in any area of a person's life is a sign of insignificant favor. When a person is rejected in one way or the other, in anything, it signifies that that person does not have sufficient favor in their life. You see, let me tell you something. When a Mr. Nobody encounters favor, he becomes a valuable personality. When a Mr. Nobody, someone whom everybody has looked down on, someone whom everybody has disdained, someone whom everybody has spoken evil of, when such a person receives favor, he or she instantly becomes a valuable personality. Let a prisoner encounter favor. Let a prisoner encounter favor. The whole land will look for his counsel, just like Joseph. The whole entire land will look for the counsel of that prisoner. Let him encounter favor. Let a slave girl like Esther Encounter flavor or favor. Flavor, the same thing. Because favor has flavor. Flavor has favor. So I can use both of them interchangeably. Amen?
Amen.
Let a slave girl like Esther encounter favor. The crowd will not look for no other girl but her. I said here on Friday night, Esther was not the prettiest of all the women there. Esther was not the noblest of all the women. But because she had favor, and she was the chosen one amongst them all, a slave girl in a distant land became a queen. Favor has value to life. Favor upgrades a man's destiny. You know, when a man is down, what brings the man up is favor. It upgrades a man's destiny. It brings up a man who is downtrodden and places him up. It's favor. Job chapter 10 verse 12. Job says, "Thou hast granted me life and favor. Thou hast granted me life and favor. Thou hast granted me life and favor." Do not one without the other. Do not live your life without favor. Thou hast granted me life and favor. You cannot move in the journey of life without the favor of God, because this is what distinguishes you from everybody else. Favor. The third ingredient, the third factor of favor. Favor is an expendable currency in the journey of life, capable of purchasing needed openings. I'm going to explain that to you. Favor is an expendable currency in the journey of life, capable of purchasing needed openings. You need to renew your favor bank from time to time, because as you are journeying in life, you are spending your favor. Hello? As you are journeying in life, you are spending your favor. Favor is currency. As you are moving in life, you are spending that currency. You didn't know that. Now you know. So favor can be increased. Now, let me explain this. The favor you need to use a restroom in a restaurant that you're not a customer is far less than the favor you will need if you're fighting a speeding ticket in the courthouse. You need favor. The favor you need for someone to give you a metro card so you can go home is less than the favor you will need if you're seeking for a job breakthrough. Are you with me?
Amen.
So, which means that you must step up your request for favor. Step up your favor request. Do not live your life in yesterday's favor. A lot of people are living their lives in yesterday's favor. Do not live your life in yesterday's The favor of God. Because why? The favor of God of yesterday cannot deliver today's result for you. Can't. The favor you received yesterday can never deliver the result you will need for today. Because today has its own problem and issue greater than your yesterday. That is the reason why the book of Hebrews chapter 4 verse 16 says, Hebrews chapter 4 verse 16, it says this. Okay, 4:16. It says, let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy. Mercy is also favor, and find grace to help in the time of need. In the time of need. In the time of your need, you do not need yesterday's favor. In the time of your need, you need the favor of today to tackle the issues of today. You need the favor of God of today to deal with the circumstances that comes today. That is why you need to up your request for favor. You cannot dwell on yesterday's favor and think that yesterday's favor will get you today's result. No, a lot of people have made that mistake in life. Just because God favored you 2 years ago on something does not mean that you're entitled to that same favor today. No, it requires a greater favor from God to you. So you must tell God to shield me, shield my life with your favor. Because favor is what makes our horn to be exalted.
Amen.
When we make a horn of a man to be exalted, is the favor of God. Number 4 point, number 4 fact. Because it's a shield. Favor is a supernatural equipment for defense and protection against all manner of evil in life. Favor. A supernatural equipment for defense and protection against all manner of evil in life. 1 John chapter 5 verse 13 tells us that the whole world lies in wickedness. There are wickedness everywhere. But what will deliver you from wickedness of the people? Favor. What will deliver you from wickedness? Favor. Favor is a divine shield. It's what shields you. When the favor of God is upon a man, that man will become secured. That man will be protected against all oppositions and against all the schemes of the enemy. Favor. Favor. So for any man or woman to escape evil in life, for any man to escape accusation in life, you will need favor of God. You need favor. People that are carrying favor escape notorious crisis easily. In a car crash, everybody may die, but they'll be the only one to live. People carry favor escape notorious crisis. They are not eliminated by crisis. They survive crisis. A favorable person survives crisis. Crisis can never eliminate them. Because you know why? Favor is what buys. Because it's a currency. Favor is what buys your way out of trouble.
Amen.
What buys your way out of any trouble you go through is favor. Because it's a currency. So to be favored means to be shielded. To be favored means to be shielded. To be favored means to be protected. To be favored means to be preserved. To be favored means to be defended. To be favored means to be secured. Amen. That's what it means. Secured from haters. And their hatred. Amen. Protected from the adversary and their attacks. That is what a favorable person gets. However, to lack in favor is to be a victim of calamity. To lack favor means that you are a victim of calamity. To lack favor means that you become vulnerable to crisis. To lack favor is to be caught short by disaster. So what you need, if you want your destiny to be upgraded, upgrade in destiny is favor.
Amen.
People don't ask God for favor. They pray, God help me, God help me. No, you need to ask him for favor. If you want God to uplift you up, you need favor. If what you need is protection, if what you need is preservation, if what you need is security, if what you need is defense, what you will cry out for is, God, shield my life with your favor. With your favor. Favor is what keeps a man afloat in a world that is filled with wickedness. It's favor. Favor is a man's bailout plan against crisis. In a time of crisis, a favored man can never collapse.
Amen.
A favored man can never collapse in a time of crisis. Favor is the believer's shield, is our shield against every manner of evil. It's a favor. Favor is what gives a man advantage over his enemies. Favor.
Amen.
Favor. What does Psalm 41 verse 11 say? I'm closing soon. Psalm 41 verse 11. It says, but this I know, that thou favorest me, because my enemy does not triumph over me.
Amen.
This is the reason. Now I know that I am favored because my enemies have not triumphed over me. So for any man to triumph over evil, over enemy, over crisis, what you need is favor. 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 So demand for favor of God. You need to be crying out, God, visit me with uncommon favor. Visit me with uncommon favor. Lord, visit me with uncommon favor. That's supposed to be your cry every day. Lord, visit me with uncommon favor. Number 5 point. Favor is a special instrument for enjoying and attracting help in life. Favor is a special instrument for enjoying and attracting help in life. To attract help in life, you need favor. A carrier of favor can never be helpless in the journey of life. Anybody who is carrying favor of God can never be helpless. Anywhere they go, people are there to assist them, people are there to help them. A carrier of favor will always find assistance everywhere and anywhere they go in life. It is favor that magnetizes people. It is favor that magnetizes helpers to come to you because you're favored. Amen?
Amen.
Psalm 44 verse 3. The psalmist says this, and I'll read from the book of Nehemiah chapter 2 verse 8. But Psalm 44 verse 3 says this. He says, for they got not the land in possession by their own sword, neither did their own arm save them. But listen to this. He says, but thy right hand and thy arm and the light of thy countenance, because thou had a favor unto them. Thy right hand and thy arm and the light of their countenance, because thou had a favor unto them. Then the book of Nehemiah chapter 2 verse 8. That's what the prophet of Nehemiah says. The king granted me according to the good hand of my God upon me. The king granted my request because of the good hand of my God that was upon me. Listen to me, everybody. Favor of God is God's hand upon every man or any man.
Amen.
Favor of God is a right hand of God extended towards a man. Favor of God is the help of God. When God helps a man, when God helps a man, when God delivers help to a man, that is the hand of God upon that man. Is the favor of God.
Amen.
The favor of God is God's perfume. Everywhere you go, you smell good. Everywhere you go, you have this smelling good perfume. It's not the perfume you buy from the store. No, those things. Because you can be smelling and you can wear a perfume that costs so much money, but you still smell. Because the good smell of God is not upon you. So it's God's perfume being sprinkled, being sprayed upon a man. Benefit of favor, very quickly. What are the benefits of favor? I will run through this very quickly because I've overstayed. I didn't mean to be here for more than 30 minutes. Benefit of favor. Number 1. Favor equips a man with needed supply for destiny. Whatever you need for your life, favor brings it to you. That's why people are killing each other to get something for life. No, favor will bring it to you.
Amen.
You do not need to kill or struggle for favor to bring you something. A man that's favored, the favor will bring any good thing, every good thing that man needs for life, it will come upon him. Number 2, favor spares a man from the worst of life. Favor will spare a man from the worst of life. That is the reason why when you go back home, where you come from, the community you came out from, if you look at everybody's life may be going through the worst of life, but you are the only one that came out. Why? Favor. Favor. So it spares a man from the worst of life. Pray. Favor attracts the right people, the right opportunities at the right time.
Amen.
Favor. The right opportunities, the right people at the right time. You are never late for anything. Anytime you are late for something important, know you have no favor. You better go home and cry to God to favor you. Are you with me?
Amen.
Number 4. Favor advertises a person positively, making the person to become admirably, attractively, and acceptably. That's what favor does. It makes a person to become attractive. It makes a person to become admired. It makes a person to become accepted. Favor. Favor. Number 5. Favor is the cure for every rejection in life.
Amen.
It's favor. For every rejection in life, what cures rejection? When people go for job interview, they say, we don't want you. It means you have no favor. It's lack of favor. A rejected person has no favor. But what people do is say, oh, well, I know that's not for me because God has something better for me. Who tells you that? No, that's not true. Instead of you to cry, God, favor me. God, favor my life. You can go in front of a judge for a parking ticket. Even though you're guilty, because favor is with you, they will toss it out.
Amen.
They toss it out. Because favor. A man who's walking or swimming in favor can never be rejected in life. A woman who's walking in favor, swimming in favor, can never be. No man can reject you if you're a woman. If you have favor, everywhere you go, they want to be with you. But if men are rejecting you, you better cry unto God. God, favor my life. Because it's a fact. Because favor is the cure for rejection. If you are a recipient of promise and fail, you have no favor. If people are promising you things and failing you, not coming to pass, it's because you have no favor. Okay. Let me run through this very quickly. Yes, favor is there for us all. I said it on. God is willing to bless his children with favor. But unfortunately, not everybody here that's sharing the sound of my voice will be a candidate of this favor. So what will make a person to be a candidate of favor and receive the favor of God everywhere they go? So that they can have the smell of God, smell of the perfume of God. So they can have the perfume of God everywhere they go, everywhere they enter. I know how many times they pull me over. The cops will come. They'll look me, sir. You didn't stop at that stop sign. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking. All right, be careful, sir. Favor. Favor. Favor of God. But not every one of us will enjoy this favor. Now, what will make a person not to be a recipient and then also enjoy the favor of God? 3 things you must do. 1, delight in You must delight in. You must delight in. Somebody say delight in. You must delight in. You must connect with and give honor to God. If you don't delight in God, connect with God and give honor to God, do not expect favor. Just live your life. Whatever happens, happens. You must delight in, connect with, and give honor to God. Well, because of time, I'm not going to go through the scriptures. Isaiah chapter 66 verse 2. You must delight in God, connect with God, and give honor to God. If you're not a person that delights in God, do not expect God to favor you, because God cannot put his smell, his perfume on a person who does not delight in him, who's not connected with him. Number 2, to enjoy the favor of God, you must let your heart be perfect towards God. Your heart must be perfect towards him. Because 2 Chronicles chapter 16 verse 9, he says God is looking for somebody, looking for someone whose heart is perfect towards him. God is searching for somebody. That is why it's only the upright that are recipients of this blessing of God, this favor of God. Your heart must be perfect towards God. If your heart is not perfect towards him, God can never spray his perfume on you. Number 3, you must love God, love him, and love his commandments, his ways. Love him and love what he says to you. Psalm 37 verse 23 says, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighted in his way. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. God is the one that orders the man's footsteps. Why? Because the man loves the Lord and loves God's commandments. Amen. So brethren, as I close my Bible, for you to enjoy God's pleasure here on earth, sweatless effort in life. One thing as a pastor that I hate is people that struggles and struggles and struggles and struggle, at the end they get nothing. I hate that. People that walk like an elephant, at the end of the day they eat like an ant. I hate that. Prophetess hard work. I hate that. But you have the option and you have the power to change the condition of your life. And that is what? Asking God to give me the spirit of favor in my life. Give me the spirit of favor. And when God gives you the spirit of favor, tend to grow in it. Don't stay stagnant. Grow, because favor increases. Learn how to increase your favor back all the time. Don't leave it on the same level, and you will see your life better and better. In Jesus' name. God bless you.